All right. We are ready to go. We had a marriage today between two of my disciples, Sundari and Ani Purusha. Very auspicious marriage. The family came, and anyway, marriage. Since you know, see, I could talk more about marriages. Probably not. Okay, what are you going to chant? Check on the song. All right. Whoops, out of tune. Let's tune it. Yeah. Okay, ready to go. Gurangavuri Dehavi Pulakashari Hare Hare Puri Jainayane Gurangavuri Dehavi Pulakashari Hare Hare Puri Jainayane Arakave Nitai Janmevra Koruna Oive Samsara Bhashana Purana Kapita Choive Arakave Nitai Janmevra Koruna Oive Samsara Bhashana Purana Itacha Oive Shaya Chati Kave Shuna Bemana Nabiyama Rabbo Shri Vrindavanapa Vishaya Jiyakari Shunaha Pemana Kaviyamai Rabboshi Vrindavana Oi bea kuti, bea ma, já você, quando repetir, no parado na parede. Oi bea kuti, bea ma, já você. You got it. Raduna Tapare Rahumora Nanako Sada Nartamagas Raduna Tapare Rahumora Rajana Gore Sajana Nalo Tabodas Ngo Rangaba Vitayawe Pulaka Shari Adiare Buntenaya Oranga Vitayawe Plaka Shari He a day Buntenaya Babe Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Jai, Om Vishnupada, Paramahamsa, Paramikacharya, all scriptella, Shimad, His Divine Grace. Abhaya Chalanada Bhaktavalanda Goswami Marshila Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Natakoti Vaishnava Vrind Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radhakrishna Gopikapadath Shyama Kunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavanam Ki Jai Madhuradam Ki Jai Jagannath Swami Ki Jai Yamunamai Ki Jai Shimandalasi Devi Ki Jai Sama Veda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Gaur Premananda Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories the assembled devotees, all glories the assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Utale Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharni Nirvishesha Shunya Bhari Pasyacha Deja Tarane Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. All right. So we're going to go ahead. Let's see, just finish typing that. So we're going to go ahead with our study of the Jaiva Dharma. We've reached a very interesting point where Brajanath has realized he's a coward boy, and Vijay Kumar has realized he is a gopi, some type of gopi. And so their paths may diverge at this particular point. Let us see. And if it gets too esoteric, we will go to another book, because esoteria is not my right. It's not my right to talk about esoteria on the internet. Okay, so let us share. Om Gana Timiranda Shaganan Shana Shlagaya Jakshur Medina Yena Tasmai Shi Gurave Namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, who so kindly opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge while I was blinded in the darkness of ignorance. So let's go. Share screen. Oh, right there we go. And make it the right size. Okay. Still pretty esoteric. But right now, we've reached a point where they're both watching the waves in Jagannath Puri. So that's not too esoteric. Not for any of you, not for me. Okay. Let me just set that up. All right, we are ready to go. Sitting on the beach. This is the beach, of course, in Jagannath Puri. It's not the beach in Hawaii. It's not the beach in North Carolina or South Carolina or in Florida. This is a holy place. Sitting on the beach, so if you want to go swimming, go to a holy place to go swimming. Jagannath Puri, they have better waves than practically anywhere else. Sitting on the beach, but they have a terrible undertow. Because the undertow actually takes you to the side and it can take you miles down the beach without even warning. Any warning, you won't even realize it, and you'll be all the way at the sun god temple, like what happened to Lord Chaitanya. Sitting on the beach one evening, watching the endless waves of the ocean, Vijay Kumar and Brajanath mused that life is like those waves, a continuum of unknown future events. Who could predict the future? Therefore, the best course of action was to immediately learn the process of Raga Marg Bhajana. That means spontaneous path. Raga is just like your emotion, feeling, intensity. Marg means path. Bhajana means the cultivation of bhajan. Bhajan means chanting, hearing, etc. The path of cultivating spontaneous attraction, devotional service. From Srila Gopal Guru Goswami. Not from Janachandra, but from Gopal Guru. Bhajana commented, I have seen the devotional process that Janachandra Goswami has propounded in his Bhajana Padati notebook. We talked about this before. Padati is like the directions, specific directions, like directions. Directions, do this, do that, this time of day, do that. Very, very precise. I think we should emulate that process. If we could make copies and receive more esoteric instructions upon that process from our beloved Guru Dev, then we shall surely get good results. This decision having been made. So in other words, the Guru Dev is actually their Siksha Guru at this point, not their Diksha Guru. Because the Diksha Guru is the Babaji, who was in Mayapur, who they took initiation from. This decision having been made, Prajanath humbly approached Sri Jana Chandra Goswami, who was a disciple of the Guru. Wait a second. Okay. He's a disciple of Jana Chandra Goswami, Jana Chandra Goswami, who, I'm sorry, I got it. Yeah, Jana Chandra Goswami is a disciple of Gopal Guru Goswami, okay, who was a disciple of Rakeshwara Pandit. Brajanath approached Sri Jana Chandra Goswami to make copies of his handwritten notes on the process of bhajan. But Jana Chandra said, without the permission of Srila Gopal Guru Goswami, his guru, I'm not in a position to give copies. Brajanath and Vijay Kumar then approached Srila Gopal Guru Goswami about this, to which he consented, saying that they should come to him with the notes for a clarification. After requesting and receiving copies from Sri Janachandra Goswami, Vijay and Brajanath decided to read the notes meticulously, that means very, very carefully, and to consult Srila Gopal Guru Goswami about their esoteric aspects at every stage. Sri Janat Chandra Goswami was a great pundit, means a learned person, well versed in all scriptures. His specialty, however, was the profound methodology of the Vaishnava science of bhajan, in which he was the foremost of the disciples of Srila Gopal Guru Goswami. So it's actually very interesting. So why don't we follow Janachandra Goswami's bhajan Padati right now? Because Prabhupada, or your guru, or the Acharya, especially Prabhupada is an Acharya, has actually adjusted the details, because these are details there, according to time, place, and circumstances, especially dealing with the modern world, where people just can't sit down, either because their minds are too disturbed, or because they have so many responsibilities, and because the material world is too disturbed. They can't just sit down and execute all these aspects in the Padati. Janachandra Goswami tutored Vijay and Brajanath in all the esoteric, let's make sure the sound is, yeah, it sounds right, esoteric aspects of Raga Marg Bhajana, means the practice of intense raga, this intense love and attraction. And Marg, of course, means path again. Whenever doubts arose, Vijay and Brajanath humbly approached Srila Gopal Guru Goswami for clarification. Having understood the divine attributes of Sri Chaitanya and having grasped the transcendental essence of the pastimes of Sri Krishna, Vijay and Brajanath joyfully entered the path of Ashtakalya Bhajan, devotional meditation upon the eternal pastimes of the Supreme Lord through the 8 time divisions of the day. Thus ends the 30th chapter of Jaiva Dharma, entitled Further Consideration of Rasa Tattva, Part 3, the Rasas of Vatsalya and Madhurya. So, okay. So this just a little bit description of what the Ashtakalya Lila is, that one meditates on specific activities that the Supreme Personality of Godhead executes at different stages during the day. There's 8 different basic stages during the day. First one in Vrindavan is early in the morning. Krishna is woken up when he's in the bower with Srimati Radharani. And I'm not getting into all the details, but eventually he has to rush home before he's discovered being absent from his bed by Yashodamai. And so when he rushes home, he puts on the wrong clothes that are wrong color, and Radharani puts on Krishna's clothes. Anyway, there's so much confusion that ensues, but this is the first part of the day. Now, also, there's an Ashtakalya Lila, Ashtami is 8, in Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes, what Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu does during each time of the day. So many devotees of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu meditate on those different times of the day. I mean, for example, right now, it is the evening here. So if I was meditating, which I'm not, meditating on giving class. So if I was meditating on Lord Chaitanya's pastimes, I'd be meditating upon what he does in the evening. Probably starts as kirtan at this particular point in Srivas Thakur's house. So, and it goes all night. So chapter 31, Madhurya Ras, the supremely sweet conjugal mellow, part 1. Let's see how far we get with this before it gets too esoteric, because it will. As the days went by, the dark thunderclouds of the rainy season were being replaced by the white, fleecy clouds of autumn. One night, cooling moonbeams spread a silver silvery sheen like a beautiful sari over Mother Earth. In his room, Vijay Kumar was lost in reading the Ujjala Nilamani. The Ujjala Nilamani is the postgraduate study of the Nectar Devotion or Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, written by the same author, Srila Rupa Goswami. On account, but it's not for us right now, on account of his immersion in Madhurya Ras, the conjugal relationship, he was now only attracted to the pastimes of Krishna in Braja, especially his tender and loving exchanges with the gopis of Vrindavan. He glanced out of the window and beheld the nocturnal grandeur of Puri. Nocturnal means the nightly. It was now 10 o'clock, and he felt inspired to visit Sundarachala. That's the Gundicha area. He had heard that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu always felt that he was in Brajadam each time he visited Sundarachala. Sundarachala is where the Jagannath carts go during the Rath Yatra. When Lord Jagannath starts from his temple, he's like in the Dwarka mood. And when he gets to Sundarachala, which is the Gundicha temple, he's in the Vrindavan mood. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates perform many amazing pastimes there. They become like little children. Sometimes they go bathing in different lakes, like in the Narendra Sarovara. And in these lakes, they have water fights. They just behave like little children, attacking each other, having a good time, playing like that. And generally, in Jagannath Puri, Lord Chaitanya didn't do those things. But when he was in the Gundicha temple, around the Gundicha temple, he actually experienced that particular mood. So Vijay Kumar left and wandered alone to Sundarachala. As he walked past Balagandhi and along Shadhabali, the purple woods on either side directly manifested Vrindavan Dham. Suddenly, Vijay Kumar felt weightless, as if floating in sublime exhilaration. Wow. This is called a spurti. Spurti means when he gets a vision or realization by the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He said, oh, how fortunate I am to actually see Brajadam. That's Vrindavan. A rare sight indeed, even for Lord Brahma, the universal creator. There lies the Kunja Vana. That means forest groves. Within the leafy bowers of intoxicating scented Madhavi Malati blossoms and Madhuri creepers, type of flowers and plants, our beloved Lord of the heart, Krishna, is talking wittily with the gopis. Wow. What a spurti, what a realization. Wow, what a vision. Feeling not a trace of fear or awe. Wow. Vijay Kumar eagerly hastened to the Kunjavana, the forest of bushes. So he thought he was going to see Krishna anyway. However, after a few steps, he faltered and, overcome by intense spiritual emotions, fell swooning to the ground. Soon awakened by the kind service of a gentle, caressing breeze, Vijay glanced around anxiously. However, he could no more see the Kunjavana, the gopis, and his beloved Lord. So feeling desolate and deeply afflicted, he slowly returned home. Without speaking to anyone, he silently lay down to sleep. So we had this coming attraction. Krishna revealed himself. Krishna does that sometimes with his devotees. The transcendental vision of the Lord's Vraja Kunja Lila, that means his pastimes within the bushes of Vrindavan, in the woods, had set his heart aglow with divine ecstasy, and he thought, tomorrow I shall relate this mystical incident to Gopal Guru Goswami. However, he hesitated, remembering the instruction that the Aprakrita Lila, unmanifest transcendental pastimes, were seen by immense good fortune and should not be disclosed to anyone. With these thoughts, he gradually drifted into a peaceful slumber. when he awoke the next morning, his heart was preoccupied with memories of his vision the night before. Afternoon prasadam, Vijay went to the Radhakanta Mandir, where he offered his prostrate obeisances to Srila Gopal Guru Goswami. Being very pleased to see him, Srila Goswami embraced him and had him sit down and relate his devotional progress. Burdened with questions about Madhurya Ras, Vijay Kumar immediately felt the calming effect of his Guru's presence as he began. Gurudev, I am very thankful to you for your unlimited patience and mercy. I beg permission to inquire about certain esoteric aspects of the Ujjvala Nilamani that are beyond my grasp. Srila Gopal Guru Goswami answered, Vijay, you are my beloved disciple. Feel free to ask any questions you wish, and know that I shall always try to answer as best I can. Vijay continued, Dearest Gurudev, Madhurya Ras has been praised as the most excellent amongst the Mukhya Rasas. Mukhya Rasas means the 5 primary rasas, like Shanta, Dasha, Sakya, Vatsalya, Madhurya. Or in English, peaceful, servitude, friendship, parental, conjugal. And is capable of evoking the most extraordinary bhava, emotion, and ras, taste. This is because all the supra-mundane, that means transcendental, attributes of Shanta, Dasha, Sakya, and Vatsalya are eternally reposed within Madhurya Ras. So let me explain what that means. That means all the qualities, the positive, qualities, all have positive qualities, but all of them that are applicable, they're all within Madhurya Ras. Shanta, that would be the quality of appreciation. Not really awe and reverence. That quality wouldn't be in Madhurya Ras. Dasha means servitude. And that quality is there to the highest degree in Madhurya Ras. Sakya, friendship, is there in Madhurya Ras. The gopis are the girlfriends of Krishna. And Vatsalya, parental, is there because the gopis are very concerned with Krishna's happiness more than anything else, like the mother is. That's parental. Moreover, any wonderful qualities that the other rasas may lack shine with full glory and sublime splendor in Madhurya Ras. Wow. So, for example, as I mentioned before, the Shanta Ras lacks intimacy and equality, okay? And so, same thing with Dasha Ras, it lacks those things. But Madhurya Ras, there's full expression of intimacy and familiarity, which is the same thing. Thus, how can anyone question the paramount position of Madhurya Ras? This is not too intimate yet. For those on the impersonal path of Nivritti Marg, I'll explain what that means. Nivritti means just basically negating everything. Like a Nivritti Marg statement would be, I'm not the body, you're not the body, that's not your mother, that's not your wife. It's all illusion. It's a negative, it's a path of negativity. Now we use some of the negativity, that's not our path though, to tell people who they are. Unless we get to the point of who you are, then simply going to the negative is not going to help people spiritually. That's the impersonal path because they don't have a positive goal. So for those on the impersonal path of Nivritti Marg, austerity and renunciation, which is austerity and renunciation, the pursuit of Madhurya Ras is inappropriate, conjugal rasa. It doesn't even make sense for those on the path of Nivritti Marg, personalists, because their hearts are as dry as a desert. On the other hand, for the hedonists, hedonist means someone who's really interested in enjoying the senses to the highest degree. Like eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow you may die. Or beg, borrow, or steal, as they say in India, get yourself some ghee. I mean, nowadays, the devotees don't appreciate ghee that much, but we did. In the early days, they knew it. Now they just appreciate oil, cooking oil, which they call vegetable oil, which has anything in it which is unmentionable. For the hedonist, a non-sensual and non-materialistic goal is incomprehensible. In other words, people are really into their senses. How can they comprehend anything that's non-material? Therefore, the Madhurya Rasa Braj categorically opposed to mundane lust and enjoyment is simply beyond their grasp. In other words, again, if people are interested in enjoying their senses, either subtly or grossly, they will never understand Madhurya Rasa. It just won't happen. What I cannot understand is that such a supra-mundane, that is divine, supra-mundane, divine, transcendental, divine Rasa, should ostensibly be exhibited as similar to the shameful and despicable exchanges between men and women of this material world. Now, that may appear like a heavy statement for you young uns. That's a southern way of saying young ones. Anyway, I like that. You young uns. Because I never talk like that. I would always say you young ones. So, because the people are shameful and despicable. There's romance. This is romance. This is what we go to the movies for. This is what we read novels about. This is why I dress so nicely. It was like today we were at a marriage. Everyone was dressed in their finest garb. Everyone was dressed in their finest garb. The ladies were decked out. No, because the men weren't decked out. But the ladies were decked out. And I was thinking, wow, they're really dressed out here. And I was actually thinking this. Sorry about this. I just have to mention, I am sorry. I have to mention, it's too funny for me not to mention. I was just thinking that even my own disciples who come to see me, ladies sometimes come, they're not dressed so nicely when they see their guru. There's any damn way. Anyway, whatever. I'm not going to get into it. I got to be careful. I'll burn everyone out. So anyway, I thought it was quite interesting. I mean, I'm not upset. I just thought really interesting phenomena. Everyone was there, oohing and awing and paying full attention, completely absorbed. I haven't seen people so absorbed in Bhagavatam class like that. Anyway, sorry. Now I will get on to the story here. Goswami, despicable exchange. Well, it's not despicable people get married. Okay. That's actually a bona fide way to engage yourself in Krishna service. Okay. But just this whole romance thing, where they're interested in the body and everything like that's another thing. Okay. Got to clarify. Careful, Maharaj. Goswami said, son, you should know that the variegatedness of the mundane plane is a mere reflection of the variegatedness of the transcendental realm. Yep. Whatever you see here is a reflection of what's there, but there it is blissful. In fact, this material world simply mirrors the spiritual world. 15th chapter of the Gita talks about that, how this material world is like a reflection of a banyan tree where the roots are up and the branches are down. And there's more details. You can read the 15th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, the beginning part. And the way you get out of that banyan tree, reflection of the banyan tree, is nirmana mohajita sangha dosha avyatma nicha vinivrita kama vanvahar vimuktar subdukha sangyar kachancha muda padamavyam tat. Become free of bad association. That's something else. People get upset when I talk about bad association. Oh my God. You got to be politically correct nowadays. Dealing with the generation, the next generation. I'd be very politically correct. Don't touch on this topic. Don't touch on that topic. Bad association. Well, bad association. Don't worry about it. Associate any way you want. You can associate any way you want. You have free will, and nobody's going to take it away. I'm not going to take it away. But if you want to advance quickly, there's a way to do it. You want to advance slowly, there's a way to do that. You want to go in reverse, there's a way to do that. Whatever you like. The mystical truth is that the reflected image is reversed and inverted. Yo! In other words, happiness, distress. Instead of Satchidananda, it's Achat, Asat, and Nirananda. In other words, temporary, ignorant, and unhappiness. Nirananda, the opposite of Ananda, the opposite of bliss. Therefore, the best and highest in the original spiritual realm is the worst and lowest in the reflected image, that is the material realm. Got that? The best, just to fill you in on what that means, the best in the spiritual world is the lowest in the material world. And I don't want to say there's nothing low in the spiritual world. Okay, so let's not get into that. Conversely, the lowest in the spiritual world is the superior and most in the material reflection. Well, he does say that. The lowest in the spiritual world, of course, nothing's really low. But let's say, so let's say in the spiritual world, not lowest in terms of bad, because I was taking that in the wrong context, thinking lowest means low. It doesn't mean low, it just means perhaps something that's not as high. It's high, but not as high. Let's take the in the material world and spiritual world, what we consider one of the lowest is the beginning, like the service mood. And in the spirit and the material world, in the spiritual world, that would be considered one of the lower rases. And the material world is considered, actually very respectable. A good example is that when one stands in front of a mirror, all the limbs of one's body are shown in reverse. They're inverted. That's interesting. That's why when you take your mobile phone and you look at yourself in the mobile phone, it gives you a mirror image or reverse image. So when you take the picture and you look at the picture later on, then the picture is not reversed. The picture is actually, I'll show you right now. I'm not going to take a picture of myself, don't worry. So let me do a selfie of the computer with all of you on the computer. It's an interesting phenomenon here. So you'll see it. We're going to do a selfie. A selfie of all of you. See, and if you look at very closely at this selfie, the text is all reversed, right? And then when I take a picture, and we'll show you the picture, text is not reversed. Anyway, I think you get the idea. So, yes, like mirror image, that's this mirror image. You may look good in the mirror, but you may look horrible in real life. So the Supreme Being, the absolute truth, buys a check. That's also another point about that, is when you go to a hospital, you have an operation in one part of your body, you may say, you're supposed to operate on my right kidney. Okay, right kidney. So the doctor hears that, but he's looking at you and he sees the right kidney to his left. He gives the right kidney to his left. So therefore, to avoid that confusion, when the doctor is prepping you, or the nurse is prepping you for the operation, she takes some magic marker or some marker and puts it around that particular kidney so they don't operate on the wrong kidney. I had that when I was having, not kidney stuff, but I had that when I was having cataract surgery. They actually put a marker around the eye. So the Supreme Being, the Absolute Truth, by his Achincha Shakti, has projected himself as the reflection of his own potency, thus diffusing himself in the material nature. That is so interesting. Of course, you can read about that in the 11th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. The 11th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita is known as the universal form. Therefore, mundane nature is endowed with the attributes opposite to those of the absolute realm. In the mundane world, Ras is a diametrically inverted version of the Ras in the transcendental world. Wow. So, all right, let's say your mundane romance. I don't want to pick on anyone. Okay, let's take friendship. Yeah, I've already picked on enough romantic people in the last day or two. Let's take friendship, for example. So your friendship is based upon not just like unalloyed service to your friend, but you got to, like my mother used to say, that to have a friend, you got to be a friend. One time I said, nobody wants to be my friend. She says, you want to have friends, you got to be a friend. But the difference is that Krishna is your friend, even if you're not friendly to him, he's friendly to you. That's spiritual. Material friendship is not actually friendship, but material friendship is based upon, again, I scratch your back, you scratch my back. And I also scratch my own back. And you also scratch your own back. But the back scratching is the point. The sublime rasa repose in the Supreme Lord in his magnificent variegatedness of ecstasy is repose. Is his magnificent variegatedness of ecstasy. Wow, that's pretty good. Supreme, sublime taste, repose in the Supreme Lord, is his magnificent variegatedness of ecstasy. When the sublime rasa is reflected upon the mundane plane, the materially conditioned souls impose mundane designations and qualities upon this supreme rasa. Isn't that what we do? In the state of confusion, they decide that all the manifest variegatedness is mundane and consider that the absolute truth must be the opposite in nature and therefore nirvishesha, featureless and formless. In other words, okay, let me explain what's being said, that the variegatedness that is manifest in this material world ultimately is full of fault and causes us problems. All right, you got that? Therefore, if the Supreme Lord exists, one comes to the conclusion, using their little teeny brains, therefore, because all, this is their jump, the inductive jump, all variegatedness is miserable according to them. And because they have not understood their spiritual variegatedness, of which this material variegatedness is a reflection, therefore they think that the Supreme Absolute Truth must have no variegatedness, and therefore nirvishesha. Okay. Thus, they especially the rhetoricians and empiricists mistakenly conclude that the Supreme Lord's partial manifestation of the impersonal Brahman is the highest aspect of the Supreme Absolute Truth. In other words, the energy of the Lord, Brahman effulgence of the Lord, is the highest aspect because they think all variety is painful, faulty. I mean, have you ever seen anything that's variegated in this world that's not ultimately faulty? No. It's just like everybody has a variegated body. Everybody's body is faulty. Even the best car breaks down after some time. The best body. Even though the scientists are making some propaganda, a lot of propaganda now, that they're going to enable you to live forever, rejuvenate you, the fountain of youth. Well, I've been looking for the fountain of youth personally, haven't found it yet. This wrong conclusion that variegatedness is essentially temporary and mundane impedes their understanding of the existence and nature of the supreme absolute person, and he exposes the limitations of logic in the attempt to understand the absolute truth. In other words, they make some statements that are basically not logical because they're based upon axioms. And those axioms are based upon limited observation. That is called induction. Because whatever variegatedness they see in this world, they see the faultiness in it. Therefore, they come to a general conclusion based upon limited data, which the scientists, that's how science works anyway. There's always limited data. You can't have unlimited data because you are not unlimited. You don't have omniscience. So science is always based upon deriving some sort of theory based upon the best you can, given your own experience or the experience of others within this world. That's science. That is science. You come to a conclusion, the best possible explanation, given the data. So the best possible explanation, given the data of this material world, our observation, because we haven't observed the transcendental realm, the best possible conclusion is that all variegatedness is faulty, because you have not experienced any variegatedness that is faultless. Therefore, you come to the conclusion that if there is an absolute truth, that absolute truth must be without variegatedness, because variegatedness is by necessity. That's their conclusion. I'm not stating this. Their conclusion is variegatedness is by necessity faulty. Okay, a little philosophy there. We haven't gotten to the Madhurya Ras. Okay. There's a lot more. Anyway, we can end here for the evening or the morning, depending on where you are. And we'll take some questions. Give me a second to YouTube. Okay, you can raise your hand or type in the text window, chat window, or
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Oh,
Felix, I'm a humble request. Good to see you too, Gurudev, and we're looking forward to seeing you in Australia.
Yeah,
soon.
Soon. So what's the question you have?
Well, it's a question someone asked me in class, and my answer was only that it happens by Krishna's will. But with the Ashtakalya Leela, it suggests there's nightfall, there's day. But we know that in the material world, there's influence of the Chandra, Surya, all the demigods with nightfall and daytime.
Yeah. But
there's none in the spiritual world. So the question was that how does that happen? There's nightfall. I couldn't answer that.
Because there's a moon in the spiritual world. It's not the mundane moon, but there's a manifestation of moonshine and manifestation of sunshine and manifestation of different times of the day in the spiritual world. Otherwise, it'd be boring if it was open. It never got dark. It never you never had twilight. You never had dawn. It'd be actually quite boring. So there's the same variegatedness without the material inebriety. So there.
Okay. So there is a moon there. There's
Their
Chandra.
devotees, the Chandra in this world is a reflection of the Chandra in the spiritual world who controls that aspect of the spiritual world. How about that?
Okay. So there is. Yeah, I
Yeah,
couldn't answer. I just said it
there's
happens.
someone who controls the moonshine, the sunshine. You know, it's just like it's a Leela, the stage for Krishna's pastimes has to be organized. And they all work under Vrinda Devi and Yogamaya.
Yeah.
They all work under Vrinda Devi and Yogamaya, who are the stage directors. You know, Vrinda Devi arranges everything. There's seasons there. And actually the seasons, the way Vrindavan is that all the different seasons, I forget there's either 6 or 8 seasons according to the Vedic paradigm.
Yes.
All the different seasons are actually manifest simultaneously in some part of Braj. And this is all organized. And you got to have organization. And these devotees who organize, they're performing the service of organizing. And, you know, you have Brinda, who's actually giving instructions to the monkeys and the peacocks and the birds, what they should do. You know, so that's, you know, in this material world, there's the reflection of those demigods.
Oh, okay. So there are demigods there as well, but
they're not really demigods.
No, they're not demigods.
They're Christian servants who are doing different things in different moods. You know, Brinda says, you know, let's arrange this bower or that bower for Krishna. Let's arrange this bird. Let's arrange this monkey. You know, so it's just, you know, they're arranging the whole scenario for their Leela.
Okay.
It's all personal. I mean, you have to understand everything in the spiritual world is personal. And it's all organized, you know, just like people don't want organized religion, but the spiritual world is organized religion, not bureaucracy. See, I guess there is a bureaucracy that, you know, there's a hierarchy, you know, Brinda's in charge and those who work for Brinda say, yes, lady. They do what she wants. And then they arrange everything in the spiritual world. So, yes, there's all this going on. Yes, all this going on. It can rain there, but it's all Satchidananda. And it's all part of the Leela. Everything is being arranged to facilitate Krishna's Leela. In the material world, you know, especially now with, what is it, global warming and us attacking the earth, everything's being arranged to just give us a hard time, to give us a reaction for all of our cow killing and other sinful activities and polluting the environment and everything like that. I mean, just like you read about all the natural disasters that are occurring. I mean, it's quite amazing. I mean, just today I was reading about what you would call there a cyclone, what we call here as a hurricane, that's coming to Southern California, which is unbelievable. It's, you know, maybe every 30, 40 years, one of these massive storms come there. And this is going to be devastating for the area. And then some places it's too hot. In Europe, some places too hot. There's been massive floods. I mean, there's devotees in the country Slovenia, which I go to quite often. And you know, things are flooded out. You know, there's this water running through. And actually, Frankfurt too. I just read yesterday that Frankfurt, Germany, the airport was flooded. There were videos of water going down the escalators.
Yeah.
The airport in New Zealand, you know, a few months ago, or actually, there was massive flooding and heat. People were dying from too much heat. Of course, right now you're in the middle of the winter, so
yeah, it's getting a bit better. So it's not so cold. By the time you come here, it should be nice.
I know it should be nice, and it'll be too hot. Then it'll get
not too hot. No.
It'll be rainy. And in Sydney, you had too much rain last year or the year before. I mean, everything was flooded out, and also in Brisbane, around Brisbane too. There've been so many floods in the last year or so. So
is it because
usual weather patterns, and that's because people are so sinful.
Right. Yes, that was the question.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, that's the demigods.
Thank you, Gurudev.
The demigods are sucking it to them. Okay, thank you for your question. So here's another.
Thank you, Gurudev.
In the chat window, It's just written to me. Gurudev, Christian preachers refute vegetarianism or Krishnatarianism and say you're wearing cotton, so it comes from harassment of other living entities. That's right. Hence, conclude that meat eating is for nutrition as God's planet and mold. I don't know what mold means. Though we shall not mood, those shall not eat. Right. How do we answer best way where they question about wearing cotton, or better not to comment and change topics? So then tell them just to go naked. All right, let them go naked, but it's the least possible harm. I mean, if you think the cotton plant, first of all, you don't kill the cotton plant when you pick the cotton. That's another thing. If you know about cotton, you don't kill the plant. You pick these little cotton balls off the plant. That's the one thing. Secondly, even if you were killing the plant, it's a hell of a lot violent than cutting some animal's throat and drinking the blood. I mean, come on. And as far as nutrition, well, guess why you have so much of a high incidence of heart disease, and even global warming is due to people raising and killing animals and transporting the animals and cutting down the rainforest. Most of global warming, it's the inconvenient truth, so to speak. Most of global warming is due to things connected with meat eating, transportation, the raising of the animal, the inefficiency of raising animals for protein as compared to raising plants. I mean, it's, basically. Oh yeah, another thing was just mentioned by Gopal Guru Goswami to me. He said to everyone, he said, COVID and other zoonotic diseases. I mean, all these diseases are called zoonotic diseases. Why do they occur? Because people are raising animals. People are raising animals in an unnatural environment, very close together. They're crowded, and their immune systems are weakened. So they're passing diseases from one to the other. There's going to be mutations, obviously. They practically have no immune systems because they're living in a completely crowded, unnatural food, unnatural environment. And one of those diseases, those animal diseases, is going to jump to human beings because there's human beings around. That's all. Obviously, I mean, you look at so many diseases. I mean, not only COVID, there was the flu epidemic in the early 1900s. They killed millions, or maybe hundreds or tens of millions of people. There's AIDS, which came because people in Africa were eating brains of monkeys. Hare Krishna. People need to wake up. People need to wake up. Devastation of the environment. I mean, the Brazilian rainforest, which is considered to be the lungs of the world, is being cut down at unprecedented rates just so that McDonald's can have places to put their beef cows. Wow. Just, think of common sense. Forget about religion, Christians. Forget about religion. Just talk about protecting the earth. Talk about protecting health. Talk about ecology. So God wants to have like horrendous storms. God wants to have people dying from cancer of the bowel and other diseases like that. Does God want that? You think so? Does God want exploitation of the environment, cutting down the rainforests? Does God want, I mean, there's another video I saw recently about people who fish, not people who fish, but these commercial fisheries. Does God want like all these whales to be slaughtered and most of the fish in the sea to be slaughtered and the fish to choke on all these nets? Does God want that? So you say, God, oh yeah, God wants that rather than eating some broccoli. I mean, if you say, it's unbelievable cruelty to cut a stick of broccoli. How can you do such a thing? It's unbelievable cruelty to take a bowl of cotton from the cotton plant. Hari Krishna. God doesn't want you to take the cotton. I mean, how can you make that argument? God doesn't want you to make the cotton. Then go around naked, you rascal. What are you going to wear? What are you going to eat? But it's obvious there's a lot less violence, a lot less impact on the environment, a lot less cruelty, a lot less global warming, a lot less of any of these problems if you have a vegetarian diet and you eat or you wear vegetarian food, not vegetarian, but yeah, food that comes from plant sources, or at worst, oil sources, plastic clothes, or something like that. Come on. It's really absurd. It's really absurd. Just say, all right, so God would prefer you to kill an animal over eating broccoli. You really think so? You really think that God is like that? That God would prefer that with all the repercussions that occur? Well, wake up, Prabhu. Not Prabhu, wake up. You and me. Oh, forget it. You person who is sleeping. Okay, on that happy note, we'll see everybody tomorrow.